More than one. 6 minutes after 9 o'clock, it is time for Jim George, the owner of American Cable Services. He's here, and he's ready to answer your questions about that high-tech stuff that you got in your house. You know, Jim's been doing this show probably more than a year already, and I wonder how much has actually changed since the first show. Things change so quickly these days. If you have a question for Jim during the course of this show, don't let our conversation keep you away. We want you to interrupt us, and the phone number to do that is 622-9622-352-622. WOCA is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline. Jim George, again, the owner of American Cable Services. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Nice day, huh?
Isn't it a beautiful day out there?
Yeah, you like it cold, right?
Oh, no.
Oh, you don't like it cold?
No. It's going to warm up, though.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful part about Florida.
The rest of the country, Detroit's ice city, they're calling
Unbelievable.
it.
I talked to a lady yesterday in Lake City, Ozarks, Missouri, and she said it was minus 40.
Holy mackerel.
Wow.
There was a guy arrested. He walked 300 yards out onto Lake Erie, I think it was, because it was frozen, one of the Great Lakes. And then when he came back, they arrested him. I guess that's against the law. You can't walk on water in you get arrested if you walk on water up there.
Oh, man. I wouldn't want to do that anyway. I'd always be afraid that the ice would crack or something. And
yeah, I know.
And they'd say, wasn't there a guy walking out there a few minutes ago?
Exactly.
There was a guy, yeah. There once was a guy walking on the water on Lake Erie, right? Well, he can say he did it in the future. He can tell his kids, hey, I walked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, technology is definitely, catching up with us. Just every day you turn around, you hear of something new that's happened in technology. It's almost not even worth mentioning because by the time you mention it, it's past.
So you have something to announce?
No, I'm just saying that
okay.
it's always, passing us by. I mean, you've seen the little device, like if you want to charge your cell phone, you get your little transformer, your little wall wart, and you plug it in,
right,
and then you attach it to your cell phone. But if you left that home, there's a little cable you can buy that you can plug into your laptop or your mini tower, and it will charge your cell phone.
That's right, yes.
But now they make these little, I call them slugs, but they fit in the palm of your hand, looks like a roll of quarters. Mm-hmm. But you charge it, and then you just keep it in your car. It may last like 6 months or something. But whenever you want to charge your cell phone, you just plug it into that. It instantly charges your cell phone in like 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And your whole cell phone's charged. Where if you plug it in, it's a real slow charge. It takes maybe a half hour to charge. This is one of those quick surges. It just wakes up your battery, and it charges it right away.
And they don't call cigarette lighters in cars anymore. They call them appliances or something. I don't know what to call them.
Yeah.
A place to plug in your electronics.
Right, some kind of utility jack or something like that. Yeah, I got one not only in my glove box area, but I have one in the back because I have a Tahoe, and I have one in the very back. When you open the back door, there's one back there.
Do you know what I don't understand about electronics? And I'm not asking you to explain it because it's probably too complicated, but I can understand how a transformer can reduce the amount of voltage. I don't understand how it can actually increase it. Like if something starts out, like a battery, starts out at 12 volts, right, in the car, mm-hmm, and then there's a device that can bring it up to 120 volts. How can you bring something up? I don't understand that.
That would be called an inverter. That would take a DC and make it AC. And what it does have a step-up transformer, multiple windings. So you go from maybe 2 or 3 windings on the 12-volt side, uh-huh, and you go through diodes, a rectifier. Basically, it's taking the DC and chopping it, and it's chopping it so fast, it's turning into AC.
See, it's over my head already.
60 times a second.
I can't even imagine chopping electricity.
Yeah, you turn it on, turn it off, 60 times a second. Now it's AC.
Oh, okay, but without understanding how it works, does it mean that I could literally, and not that I would have a refrigerator in my car, but an appliance that plugs into an outlet in the house could then be plugged into an outlet in my RV, let's say?
Exactly.
Without even hooking up to like an external outlet at the campground, that kind of thing?
You plug it into your battery, and
really?
It will turn the DC into AC, and then you can plug in a radio or a TV or anything you want to.
So then does that mean that eventually all of the electronic devices will have tiny solar cells on them, so that way they charge up that way, and then you can just not have to worry about the conversion factor?
Well, some devices have solar cells on them already. As a matter of fact, I have a I have a radio that's a wind-up radio. You've probably seen them as little dynamo.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
turn the little
Yeah.
handle, and then you
Yeah.
close the handle up, and it'll play for like 30 minutes. And then when it gets weak, you wind up the little handle again. And
Wow.
So no batteries required.
Do you think there'll ever be a lunar cell? I mean, it's so sensitive. The moon can actually charge something at night.
Yeah, if it's full, right? That would be cool.
Yeah, I don't think they've quite gotten there yet, but I don't see if you can think it up, it can be invented.
Yeah.
That's the weird part about our society. If you can think about, some person said the other day that if you can imagine what the world will be like in 10 years, then you're not really thinking, because it's changing. It was changing every 18 months.
Right.
Technology doubles every 18 months. And now it's doubling like every 12 months. So there's new things being invented all the time. You really can't think what the world will be like in 10 years.
So do you think the wiring will be different? Because I know that clothes dryers and stoves are plugged into a different, like a 220 or something like that, and then all the other stuff is a different kind of voltage. Do you think it'll all be uniform eventually, or do you need that extra?
You'll still probably, the house wiring won't change. There's a lot of things in life that have never, or I shouldn't say never, but have not revolutionized, not come up to evolving. I mean, we used to have wire that was covered with cloth jackets. A lot of listeners out there will remember the days when you used to wire your house with what we would call today Romex. But instead of being covered by plastic and insulated, it was covered with cloth.
I remember
Just
that.
wire, cloth wire. Cloth, it's like string wrapped around it.
Yeah, I remember that.
You go in some of these, under some of these houses that were built like in the early 1900s, and that's the kind of wiring they had. And then they went with PVC, polyvinyl chloride jackets, and so on. Now they have something called THNN, which is another thermal jacket type of covering. But the idea is all your appliances just need 110 or 220 or whatever it is, and that's not going to change. What will change is what happens after it hits that 220 or 110. You have the induction. You've probably seen them right now. You can put your hand on the stove, and it is not hot. But you put a pot on there, and it'll boil.
Oh, wow.
I have not seen that.
One of those.
No.
Yeah, because
Wow.
and even after you remove the pot, you can put your hand instantly back on it.
Really?
It's not hot.
Wow.
What it does, it sends electromagnetic waves, like microwaves,
Right.
and it hits that metal. Well, what happens? It instead of bouncing off, it's vibrating the electronics in that metal, and they're getting hot. And they boil the water or heat the soup or whatever it is you're doing.
I never heard of
So
this.
as you move it over, the wave's still there, but it goes right through your
That doesn't
hand.
affect you.
Instantaneous.
Wow. Hey, okay, we do have a phone call, so let's go to the phone. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim George.
Yeah, good morning, good morning. A little off topic, but funny little cigarette lighter moment from a movie. The movie is A Sum of All Fears. And the bad guy smokes cigarettes. And some of the bad guys, co-conspirators, periodically tell him throughout the movie that those cigarettes will kill you. And near the end of the movie, they booby-trap the bad guy's car, and he gets in, and he presses the cigarette lighter, and the car blows up.
No, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
The prophecy came true, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good day, all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use my cigarette lighter anymore.
Well, there's a lot of cars do have a lot of electrical items in them now. I mean, you got to have a special key.
Right.
You
with a chip
can't have
on it.
a normal key. It's got to be a special key. Or you have a special code to get into your car. You
Right.
push a button on the door. Now they have a fingerprint identification. So it's your fingerprint, and then when you touch the button, only your fingerprint will start the car.
Now that's cool. I
Wow.
love that one.
You know, Jim,
Think about selling the car. What do? Hey, can you come start my car for me?
yeah, right.
I know. I mean, I know it's going to be not
Oh,
that
wow.
difficult. You're going to call. You're going to get in there. You're going to do it again. But
Yeah.
the idea is they're thinking that they're helping us, but all these things they don't help us a bit. Think about the days when you have a window winder and you wind it down yourself.
Oh, I love those.
Then you buy a car and it has electric windows, right?
Yeah.
To go. Okay.
Right.
But if your battery's dead, who's going to roll your window down?
Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
If you plunged into a pool, or a lake, Let's say it was frozen. You're driving across it. You're in Lake Michigan doing fishing, and you break through. How are you going to roll your window down?
Yeah, you can't do it.
Your
That's
batteries,
scary.
I mean, it has all the conveniences as long as everything's going perfectly well in your life.
That's right.
As soon as something
That's right.
goes haywire in your life, you're stuck.
So we had a discussion on. I'm really going out on a limb where I'm taking you right now, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on this because you're kind of the only guy I would know, well, except for maybe Jim Penna. The other day we had a discussion with a guy talking about a National Geographic special, I think, right?
Yes.
That talks about the black holes in space, and there's one that in the next year we're going to witness it eating a star. So we're going to witness this, even though it happened, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Yes.
It wasn't millions ago, as I thought, but anyway, so the light took 27,000 years to get here, so that's when it really happened, but we're going to see it this coming year. Okay. So then there was this discussion about quantum physics, and the quantum physics discussion went like this, and this is where I'm lost, that what happens when something is observed is different than what happens when something is not observed. Have you heard this? This quantum physics theory?
It's like if the tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, does it really make a sound?
Yeah, and they did an experiment, and they shot protons through a slit or something in a cardboard or something, and nobody observed it, and the results were different than when people observed it. What the heck is that about?
Yeah, that is fascinating.
So if we
stuff.
don't watch this black hole, it might not happen, even though it happened 27,000 years ago.
Right.
I don't understand the whole thing.
No, it actually happened. You and I would agree that it happened. It's like an automobile accident. No one saw it happen, but it happened. Mm-hmm. No one heard the crash, but there must have been a noise, right?
You would think so. That's the logic, right?
It's just one of those things. I mean, just imagine a car. It's 2 a.m. Car loses its park brake. It rolls backwards and hits a car and damages it. Nobody heard it. Nobody saw it. Does that mean it never happened? Does that mean that it didn't bend the metal? No,
right.
All those things took place.
So what? So do you understand that whole observing?
I think that's people with too much time on their hands. Can God make a rock so big he can't move it himself? It's one of those kind of things.
Okay.
Are televisions ever going to be where you can just lift them up without hardly any effort, where they're just going to be so light that if all of a sudden you just don't want it in one place in your home and just want to move it to another place and everything's contained in that one unit?
You can buy a TV. Well, you can't buy it yet, but they have a TV out that rolls up. It's about
wow.
1/32 of an inch thick. And you roll it up and you put it inside a tube, let's say, and you carry that on your back like you would a quiver of arrows. And then you get to where you want to and you just pull it out and lay it out.
Wow.
And it will sense the satellite signals or the UA, and it'll turn right on and you'll have TV.
How cool is that?
Or you can put it on your wall and have a whole wall. All the things you see that on these sci-fis where they're using their hands in the air, all that
Yes.
stuff's real today.
Oh.
All of it's real. You just can't buy it.
I know. Isn't that amazing? All right, let's go back to the phone. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning, Mike. One of the newest things that I just read about is the prospects of nuclear fission are not, are just basically over the horizon now, and that's where you could use the various, nuclear fuels, I guess, and produce power without radiation. Is that something that fission would do? And I know they were talking about cold fission a while ago, but that just was unsustainable. And now they're talking about nuclear fission, where there would be no radiation from the darn stuff. So
Wow.
it's our way of life is drastically going to change, possibly in the not too distant future, as far as standards of living and how we get our power, etc. Have a good weekend, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's interesting stuff. And we got another phone call. Good morning. You're on there with Jim.
Yeah. Good morning. Quantum mechanics is about very small objects, size of an electron, whereas astronomical things the size of stars don't apply. The errors in quantum mechanics are down in the 25th decimal place. So when you're observing something small, the instrument you observe it with influences the experiment. Just the way it is.
Oh, okay. So it's got nothing to do with our observation. It's the equipment's
there's
observation.
an error induced in the experiment because of the small size of everything.
So our telescopes won't influence that black hole star
that's
thing.
The Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
Ah, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I had that when I got married. That was the uncertainty.
That's good.
Is a closed caption available on your service
Yes.
when you set it up?
Yeah, closed caption is a product of the broadcaster himself or the programmer, whoever made the product. And what the TV stations do is they send that out in the clear, let's say. So we don't touch that. We send that straight out. So yeah, closed caption, and also foreign language. You can actually have your TV set to receive English or Spanish. Well, the new sets come out, and there's a whole list. There's I think 200 languages, and all you do is hit the source. And then you go over to HDMI, which is your input, let's say, for your cable or whatever. Then you come down to sound and you set your levels. You go to colors and then you come down to language. When you come down to language and you hit it, it starts off at Albania, let's say, and goes all the way down to Zulu. And then all you do is check the language you want to. Now, if the person who produced that channel has encrypted it with Zulu, then you get it. If they haven't, it'll say not available.
Oh, really? Oh,
Wow.
so that's an important part to know.
Yeah, but right now we have a couple of channels that we are carrying that have they're in Korean, they're in Chinese Mandarin, they're in Cantonese, they're in Japanese. There's 10 languages with the same program.
Oh my!
So you can watch the same program in 10 different languages, whichever one you choose.
Wow, that's amazing.
But that's the way the person who made the movie or whatever it was did it.
Right. We have another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim George.
Good morning, Larry, Robin, and Mr. George. How is everybody?
Hey, Jim. Good.
You're talking about the...
Uh-oh, you dropped out. Say it again. You there? Okay.
Oh, he must have lost the signal.
The computer shows him there, but we don't hear him.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't hear you, Jim, at all. Nothing. Absolutely dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Call back.
Well, hopefully that'll be fixed. When we were kids, phones worked perfectly, remember?
Yeah.
Will
You
there
couldn't
be
take them with
Skype?
you, though.
Can you have automatically built-in Skype to your system?
Well, Skype is more or less a data. You're doing video and audio over data line, like voice over IP. Right now, you need a processor of some sort. That's where your computer comes in. If you notice, you do Skype on your computer.
Right.
You don't do it on, let's say, your phone at the house because it's not set up. It doesn't have the processing capability. But if you're asking me, will something like Skype be available?
Be on the TV
Yes.
while you're watching. You
Yes.
can talk to somebody.
Exactly.
See, I got Skype on my, what do you call it, Kindle. I can do Skype
Yeah.
on my Kindle.
Yeah.
Yes. You need something with some processing power because you're doing video as well as audio.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, let's take another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Let's try this again.
There you are. Okay.
This wonderful phone.
Yeah.
As I was saying, light travels at 186,000 miles per second. When you look at the night sky and you look at any particular star, whichever one you choose, just think of the notion that star may no longer exist as you're seeing it. It's kind of like time travel. You're actually seeing history.
That is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of cool?
Yeah. Well, this very star that's going to be gobbled up by a black hole this year sometime has been gone 27,000 years already. So,
Yeah.
yeah, fascinating.
And
Yeah.
then think how far away that thing is for the light to take 27,000 years to travel here at 186,000 miles a second.
I know. It's fascinating stuff.
And think how bright that thing is.
Y'all have a good day.
How bright, yeah. All right, let's go back to the phone. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. It's Sonny again. My grandson can use Skype because I have it set up on my computer, and he uses it with his iPhone. I don't know if it's an iPhone or some other outfit, but he has a motorbike, and he was talking to us and operating his motorbike, and we could see everything on his iPhone as he was, as he turned it around and pointed it at different things while he was going down to the beach over in Texas somewhere.
That's neat. I love that kind of stuff.
It was amazing that this can be done through your what is it? I don't know what the heck they call them now. To me, it's a cell phone, but I know they're bigger and they do a lot more things. But it was amazing that he was able to do this. Went right down to the beach and parked his motorbike and gave us a tour of the beach.
Wow,
so
that's cool stuff.
It's the amazing, what the military and the CIA and our government has must be really out the door.
Yeah, I'm sure they have stuff we don't know about. Yeah, probably right.
Have a good weekend again.
Thank you, Sonny. Appreciate that. Do you get something maybe? I mean, we're kind of way out of left field today. When lightning strikes, well, let me go back to years and years and years ago when I worked at WTMC. Everybody kept their computer plugged in one weekend, and I unplugged everything, every wire, every phone connection, everything. There was a storm during the weekend. When we came back, everybody's computer did not work except for mine. Every one of their computers had a tiny little piece of glass just outside of the phone line. Back then, I guess everything was dial-up, okay? So there was something that was actually protecting the computer, and that little glass is what did it. That, in other words, the glass broke, which caused the computer to not work, but it also prevented expensive damage.
Right.
Have we gone? Now haven't been at TMC since what, 20 years maybe?
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So that was a long time ago. Have we improved the way we protect our stuff from lightning and other, even static electricity used to be a problem?
Yeah, there's two different types of protectors. One's called the primary protector, which the Society for Cable Television Engineers has actually mandated that all cable systems use. And that means that you protect the person's home outside the home. And you can buy a gas discharge tube, and that's what you had. It was a gas discharge tube, piece of glass that had an argon-type gas in it. And it was due to short circuit, for lack of a better term, at a certain voltage. And as soon as it reached that certain voltage, it blew up. In other words, it self-sacrificed itself to save the line. To save everything. And that's called the primary protector. Oh, wow. And then a secondary protector is one you'd bring inside your house. And that would be like your UPSs, anything you would plug in that has surge protection into it. The whole idea is you want to keep lightning out of your house. So you really want to have more primary protectors and less secondary protectors. So today the telephone company and we install them. They will self-sacrifice, but they'll reset themselves. So now instead of being a gas discharge tube, it's an electronic breaker. It senses senses the rise of the current, and it opens the breaker. And as soon as it senses that it went back down, it closes itself back up again.
Oh, that's good news.
And they last for years and years and years. But the real expensive ones, like for your television station, if we were to pick, they could cost $80 to $100 per line on your telephone. For the home, those same things cost like $5 or $6.
Wow.
So while we talk about all these great gadgets, the one thing that could ruin them all is lightning, but we've got something in place to protect them.
Yes.
I think we've got enough time to squeeze in one quick phone call. You've got to be quick, though. Good morning. You're on there with Jim George.
Hi, Larry. I'll be quick. This is June.
Hi, June.
George. I'm just wondering if the old-fashioned lightning rods still are something you could use, especially in Florida. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks a lot.
All right. Can you?
Yeah, we put 8-foot ground rods everywhere. That's part of the electrical code. If I go in to do a work, I must ground my wire to the existing house electrical ground rod. That's so that all grounds are the same, they're common. If I put my own ground rod in and it's 10 foot from your ground rod, then what could happen is called potential difference. They're both grounded, but they're grounded just a little bit different, and that will set up a real big problem in your house if lightning were to hit. So the code reads everything must be grounded to a common ground rod.
Oh, wow. Well, if you're not and you need to figure out if you are, you might want to call Jim, or for any other electronic help, call Jim George at American Cable Services. And, of course, that includes cable service itself and the much talked about, what do we call it again?
A la carte.
A la carte. A la carte.
A la carte.
Jim, what's your phone number?
854-9795.
And you have a website?
Yes, it's AmeriCable, and that's America with B-L-E on the end of it, so it spells AmeriCable.us.
.us. Make sure you get .us on there. Jim George, always fun. Always love having you in here.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, we'll take a little break and be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
ABC